Hey everyone, welcome to episode 63 of the Return Policy. And even though I'm doing things a little bit in reverse and doing the past two reviews of Nintendo Switch accessories, I thought today would be the time I would do the actual review on the console itself, the Nintendo Switch Lite, Turquoise Edition. So this is honestly my first console level of reviews. I'm so used to doing the accessories kind of level of reviews, and I thought I wanted to take a good amount of time in doing a review on the console itself, kind of really give the time and effort and put in the the amount of use and the kind of first-hand experience of using this one here, the Nintendo Switch Lite, for dang near a good month, if not a little bit more. I'm not too sure, probably or at least what felt like a month, but a solid few weeks of using this as my main Nintendo Switch type of console. And what I wanted to do with this one is put myself in the kind of the place of, hey, what if I already have an existing Switch? Does this work out as a kind of a travel version of the Switch, something even more portable than the Switch already does while your main Switch stays at home? But also I wanted to give it the perspective of what if this is your only Switch that you're going to purchase either for this holiday season or for something further down the line. Is this a better investment for what you want it to be used for in terms of just portability and a better price tag? And I wanted to kind of put myself in those two pairs of shoes and see which one benefits and kind of not benefits within those two scenarios, and thought I'd do a mini review for everyone today. So here's the Nintendo Switch Lite. You may have already seen quite a few reviews by now, and so I wanted to get some of the biggest omissions right off the bat. Number one, no TV output. So that's one of the biggest kind of the selling points of the Nintendo Switch itself, that allows you to play it as both a portable console and as a home console to be played on your television. Well, with the Nintendo Switch Lite, they essentially removed that option, and trying to justify the $200 price tag, that option is now left out for the Nintendo Switch Lite. Number two, no detachable Joy-Cons. And so the other big selling point for the Nintendo Switch originally was that you can physically remove and put back or attach and detach the physical controllers onto the console itself. With the Nintendo Switch Lite, while it does create a sturdier feeling console, you do lose that ability to be able to play a quick multiplayer. You also lose the ability to have the high definition rumble that the original Nintendo Switch offers, as well as the infrared. So that is also meant to create a more portable centric console. And number three, no kickstand. I'm just kidding. The kickstand on the regular Nintendo Switch was kind of terrible as it is, and so that's more of a joke than anything else. As you can already see, there's not that much included in the box for the Nintendo Switch Lite. Essentially, you get the console itself, of course, some paperwork, and the USB-C wall adapter. So as I was mentioning earlier, I really did want to give this two separate scenarios of what if I already own a Nintendo Switch, and what if this is going to be my only Nintendo Switch. And so I wanted to put it through its paces, and one of the kind of the bigger things, at least for me personally, is that I'm not beholden to any specific, contract to only show this product or only review it in conjunction with this one. So when I was doing this mini review, I thought, why not compare it to all the stuff I have? Why not try it with all the accessories I have to play with? And so I wanted to compare it against different cases, different thumb grips, all sorts of things. So you'll definitely see that further on in the review, and just me kind of messing around and seeing how does the Nintendo Switch Lite stack up against all the stuff, or at least the majority of all the stuff I played with in the past. And just for comedic scale, I wanted to compare my Nintendo Switch Lite with my traditional Nintendo Switch, coupled with the Hori Split Pad Pro adapters, those massive but very comfortable controller adapters that I did a previous review on, just to show off how large this is compared to the Nintendo Switch Lite in its most extreme kind of sense. But essentially, I wanted to speak about the first scenario on what if I wanted to use this as my supplemental Nintendo Switch, you know? What if I just kept my main Switch at home and while using the Nintendo Switch, portably? The biggest thing for me was I started to buy a lot of my software through the eShop. And since you can still have your Nintendo Online account signed in on both systems, but you'll only have one primary system. In this case, I still wanted my home console version, my main Switch, to be the primary console. And what I found out is if your non-primary console, in this case the Nintendo Switch, tries to play a game that you purchased online and downloaded, it really, and I think aggressively, tries to kind of phone home all the time. And if you are out and about and you're not near a signal and one thing goes wrong towards another thing, and you are effectively prevented from playing that game any further until you get back to an internet signal. And so while the theory really worked well on using the two different consoles, if you're not really willing to commit to the Nintendo Switch Lite as your primary system and your home console back, or you want to take either or to do two different locations, it is kind of a juggle trying to get both of those systems to play those games. Other than that, if you have a Nintendo Online account, it allows you to back up your saves through their cloud service. If you don't have the Nintendo Online service or haven't paid for it, then it does make it much more difficult to transfer your saves from one console to the other. So if you wanted to start something, say Luigi's Mansion, or in my case I wanted to play Dragon Quest Builders 2, I had an experiment to start my game on normal Switch, and then I wanted to take it outside. In this case, in this part of the video, I took it to Disneyland, and I wanted to play Dragon Quest Builders, and I was able to sync the saves, which worked really well, and I was able to play it. Granted, I wanted to also test the outdoor light on the screen, and it is doable, but I wouldn't recommend playing too much of your Nintendo Switch Lite outdoors. But just to show it off and being able to enjoy a trip to Disneyland with a Nintendo Switch Lite, I thought I would include it here on this mini review. And so for the second scenario of what if this was my only Switch, I think this is a great kind of purchase for that, purpose. To be honest, even though I've owned the original Switch for quite a while, I play predominantly portable, That's why I did so many reviews on thumb grips for the Joy-Cons and grip cases, because I love playing my Nintendo Switch portably. And this little guy here, it fit that niche just fine, and it's built to last. It's very sturdy. The screen is really good, although I wish the D-pad was a little bit better feeling. It does function more as a D-pad than the actual buttons on the traditional Switch Joy-Cons. So for that scenario, I really did enjoy using the Nintendo Switch Lite as my primary console without having to worry about syncing my saves from one to the other. So if this fits kind of your criteria to say, I just want something on the go, something I can either throw in a case, which I have done reviews on if you're curious. I wanted to see if I can take this with me, play something either while traveling, on the road, while bored, all of the above. I really do believe that the Nintendo Switch Lite really fits that that need and fits it perfectly. So after all that's said and done, did I enjoy using the Nintendo Switch Lite in general? And that is a resounding yes. I really did like the build quality of the Nintendo Switch, and give or take, since I've been using the traditional Nintendo Switch itself for well more than 2 years now, it did feel good to actually have a solid, physical device without, in my case, personally, the Joy-Cons themselves either feeling wobbly or slightly, disconnected. Still working, mind you, but feeling disconnected. And after all the kind of like tweaks and changes I've done to Nintendo Switch, to my own Nintendo Switch, it does feel really nice to have a solid piece of hardware to kind of like hold on to and use whenever I wanted to use it. The button choices, I feel it could have been Maybe, well, we can't make it slightly larger, but even the color scheme looks very aesthetically nice. You know, just the kind of the off-white kind of rubber that stands out for the buttons, the D-pad, the sticks for sure. But in use and normal wear and tear, unless you're gonna keep, you know, your hands, your bag, your carrying case, your Nintendo Switch Lite carrying case, everything in the most pristine condition, is definitely gonna get marked and nicked and all different types of, you know, crud. It's gonna get stuck. But those are just all kind of like small nitpicks, very small complaints, and it doesn't really detract from the actual use of the Nintendo Switch Lite itself as a portable game console. The thing rarely, if ever, gets warm, and the game that I had primarily used it on, which was Dragon Quest Builders 2, always had the fans kicked in high gear on my regular Nintendo Switch, and I had barely heard it or even felt it on the Nintendo Switch Lite. The battery life, of course, is amazing, especially since it has newer hardware that's a lot more energy efficient and doesn't use as much. So the battery life was really good. The the warmness of the console was really good, and I think just using it as a portable game console was great. In the end, I'm really still glad I gave the Nintendo Switch Lite a solid chance. I really did enjoy it. If you are planning to buy it as your main Nintendo Switch console and not as a supplemental or a portable for your existing Nintendo Switch, I think that is a much better decision than using it for a supplemental console. So with that, actually, train of thought, this guy here, this Nintendo Switch Lite, is if this is the one that you want to pick up for your main Nintendo Switch console, I would say yes. This one here is a keep it. Alright, anyways, that's it for me this time. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this kind of mini review of, actually, my first console review on the Nintendo Switch Lite. And if you thought in any way this was informative in any of your purchasing or researching kind of decision making, please feel free to hit that like button. If you thought I chose the wrong color and should have went with gray or the yellow, go ahead and hit that dislike button. That's fine too. And if you want to stick with me for that semi-long run, please feel free to hit that subscribe button. I plan on making as many of these mini reviews as I can, and since the holiday season of this year is coming up, I definitely want to make more and more of these mini reviews, especially as some good accessories are coming out for both the normal Nintendo Switch as well as the now new Nintendo Switch Lite. Otherwise, that's it from me. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this mini review, and I'll see you next time.